U.S.-Israeli relations have hit rock bottom over the path to peace in the Middle East, and fallout from the UN resolution condemning Israeli settlements in East Jerusalem and the West Bank. It's unbelievable. Why are these allies sparring so publicly is a question let's discuss now with CNN political commentator and contributor to The Atlantic, Peter Beinart, and former CIA Director James Woolsey. He was a senior advisor to the Trump campaign. Good morning to both of you, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. I want to begin with you, Ambassador Woolsey. What's your reaction to the Secretary's speech?
Well, I think Netanyahu had the better of these exchanges. This is not really about one state versus two-state solutions. This is about whether or not the Palestinians accept Israel's right to exist. And in the current circumstances, they don't. Israeli Arabs, that is Muslim usually, citizens of Israel, about 1/6 of the Israeli population, can go to bed at night without fear that someone's going to bash in their front door and kill them. They have their own members in the Knesset, they have Supreme Court justices, they have their own publications, they lead a very reasonable life, particularly for the Middle East. That sort of life is not possible for a Jew living in the West Bank governed by the Palestinians. They will be killed. If you even sell property to an Israeli, you'll get killed. So there's nothing much that can be done in this world of one and two state solutions and compromises.
The Secretary
and so forth
addressed
right
that,
now.
Ambassador, in his speech, condemning any sort of violence against Israel or anyone.
They always do, but then you come down to boycotts and so on. There's always an effort coming from the Palestinians to effectively get rid of Israel. They don't recognize its right to exist.
So, Peter Beinart, to you, the question that Ambassador Woolsey brings up is an important one. Where is the Palestinian leadership condemnation of this violence? We have seen Netanyahu in the past multiple times condemn any violence on the part of Israelis. Do we need to see more of that from Palestinian leaders?
Well, first of all, to say that the Palestinians don't accept Israel's right to exist, the PLO recognized Israel's right to exist in 1993.
But not as a Jewish state.
At the beginning of the Oslo Accords.
The point is not as a Jewish state.
No, in fact, in fact, Israel at that point did not ask the Palestinians to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. Israel itself has never defined what it means to be a Jewish state. And the United States did not. The United States did not recognize Israel as a Jewish state. Egypt did not recognize Israel as a Jewish state when it made peace with it. This is a new request that Benjamin Netanyahu made that was not made by previous Israeli prime ministers, precisely because Benjamin Netanyahu is fundamentally hostile to the idea of a two-state solution. In 2014, he himself said there would be no circumstance, under any circumstance, could he envision Israel removing its troops from west of the Jordan River, which means the West Bank. I need to say one more thing, which is, well,
this is nonsense.
The claim that Palestinians, Jim, the claim that Palestinians would inevitably kill Jews in the West Bank. I have Jewish friends, Israelis who live in the West Bank. It's frankly a racist claim to suggest that Palestinians would inherently kill Jews. Some Palestinians commit terrorism, and many don't.
Peter Beinart, to my question, though, does there need to be more from the Palestinian leaders in terms of condemning the violence?
Absolutely.
Yeah, look, there are lots. I think that was
one thing they could do, for example. One thing they could do. One thing they could do. One thing they could do is stop. One thing they could do is stop calling Haifa occupied Haifa.
Let him finish his thought, Ambassador. Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, actually, again, Mahmoud Abbas has repeatedly, again and again and again, accepted Israel's right to exist within the 67 lines, and in fact accepted the idea of land swaps in the West Bank too. Yes, there are tremendous problems with the Palestinian leadership,
when any possibility comes up, such as the Clinton parameters back in the last days of the Clinton administration, which was a compromise. It was tough from Israel's point of view, but the Knesset accepted it, but the Palestinians would not. That was the last time we've had a real chance for a two-state solution.
Well, actually,
Israel
if you look
accepted it, the Palestinians didn't, and they lie about it. The Palestinians lie about it all the time.
Look, I could debate you on 2000, but we can go more recently. If you want to look at 2013, 2014, the Kerry negotiations, the Obama administration itself said the single biggest obstacle to an agreement in those negotiations were Israeli settlements. Mahmoud Abbas is inside the Clinton parameters today. Has a proposal.
Jim, you keep on has nothing to say about any of this that is not pro-Palestinian. Sometimes it's quietly pro-Palestinian, sometimes it's blatantly so.
To that point, let's listen to what Secretary... Gentlemen, hold on. Let's listen to what Secretary Kerry said about exactly that, condemning that violence in his speech yesterday.
And the most recent wave of Palestinian violence has included hundreds of terrorist attacks in the past year, including stabbings, shootings, vehicular attacks, and bombings, many by individuals who have been radicalized by social media. Yet the murderers of innocents are still glorified on Fatah websites, including showing attackers next to Palestinian leaders following attacks.
Ambassador Woolsey,
yes,
he did it just there.
Yeah, he did right then, but that is not what shows up in Palestinian papers. That's not what shows up usually in statements from the PLO. It's certainly not what shows up in anything coming from out of Gaza. It's not showing up from the missiles coming out of Gaza against Israel. Don't carry flags saying, don't worry, we're in favor of a two-state solution. This is really nonsense. That the Palestinians do not accept Israel's right to exist, and they are now going at it through boycotts and divestments and so forth. They'll use force whenever they have an opportunity.
All right, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it there. Yeah, we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Peter Beinart, Ambassador Woolsey, we appreciate it. Coming up on New Day, we will have Prime Minister Netanyahu's spokesman join us. David Keyes, also an official from the Palestinian Authority, will also be with us.
And President-elect Donald Trump tweeting about a rough transition, then changing his tune hours later. So what changed? We're going to discuss with our political panel. That's next.